Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. It's me, Addy, again, and I hope you guys are doing amazing as always. As you can probably tell from the title of this video, I am back with another review of the mini kind. So two things. Number one, you're probably wondering why you're seeing my lovely, photogenic, gorgeous face in a mini review, since these kind of videos are typically me just talking over gameplay from my streams. And number two, you're probably wondering why I'm even doing a mini review in the first place, considering I just did a full-fledged episode of Addy reviews on Black Myth Wukong, and might have given you all the impression that I'm back full-time with those longer, more in-depth videos. So to address point number one, don't worry, we're not going to be talking face-to-face for the entirety of this video. This is just for the intro segment. I have kind of an important channel update to share today, and that leads me to addressing point number two. Basically, today's review video for the new Zelda game that came out is going to be much shorter, much like the recent Final Fantasy reviews that I did. And that's because life's been busy. I need to scale back the amount of time I spend on the content that I make here on the channel. So you'll have to expect more of these condensed reviews for the games we play in the foreseeable future. But don't worry, I'm still going to be around doing full Addy review episodes from time to time for the special near and dear titles when they inevitably drop. Like Death Stranding 2, the final part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. And heck, I might even do one for the new Dragon Ball Sparking Zero game that came out, considering I'm a huge fan of the property and have been eagerly awaiting that one since forever. But you know what? We'll see. I'm excited to share the quick update itself for why this is all the case. A good personal friend of mine for many years and a wonderful member of our community who you may or may not be familiar with, who's been around since the very beginning, Toozy Point, or Toozy, has been working very, very hard as of late on his YouTube channel that he started a year ago now. He is freaking killing it. It's about to be his 1 year anniversary, so it hasn't exactly been a year yet, and some really exciting things are to come, and I can't wait for you all to see what they are. He's amazing. So you've got to check out and subscribe to his YouTube channel. I'm leaving the link to that below in the description. I am more than proud of him, and I cannot wait to see the future of his content. So Toozy, if you're watching this, man, just keep on keeping on, alright? So with that said, it fills me with happiness to say that I have been assisting him however I can behind the scenes. So because of this, I'm balancing the work between both my channel and his. So the main thing is that you're going to see more streamlined videos here on my main channel going forward. But listen, like I said, fret not, I'm not going anywhere. As I always like to say, we're going to keep the stream dream alive. Since the very beginning, since 2019, since we embarked on this journey, we're going to keep it alive. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm going to keep making content here on my main YouTube channel to the best of my ability until the very end. No matter what may be going on, no matter how much I'm going to need to scale back the amount of effort I put into my channel here, we're going to keep on keeping the heck on, guys. So with all that out of the way, let's jump into the review. The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom is the latest entry into Nintendo's long-running beloved franchise and one of my personal favorites. And this one arrives hot on the heels of the two previous iterations on the Nintendo Switch that were behemoths, those being Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, of course. Now, Echoes of Wisdom came as a surprise to a lot of folks, myself included, mainly due to it returning to the classic 2D facet of the franchise after many years, and it being a fresh new entry that isn't a remaster or remake of any kind, unlike 2019's Link's Awakening remake, which Echoes of Wisdom does boast a similar visual style to. But what ultimately sets this game apart in the coolest way is that this is the first time you get to play a Zelda game as, well, Zelda. Technically it was this one, but you don't count. That's right, for once, all you fake fans out there erroneously calling Link Zelda would be correct, actually. So, as Princess Zelda within this lovely isometric rendition of Hyrule, the threat you've got to stop this time has to do with these gloomy miasmic rifts that are cropping up around the kingdom and swallowing up its innocent citizens. And as per series tradition, Zelda and Link are tied together in a prophecy that foretells their sealing of this evil. But what isn't per series tradition is how this time you, of course, don't play as Link, except for in the very beginning, which is actually super cool. The game baits you into thinking this will be another adventure for Link by letting you play as him with all his classic tools and gizmos, like a mighty sword, bow, shield, bombs, all of which you lose in addition to him once he reaches Zelda being held captive, where in an unusual instance, he fails to rescue her. And after she breaks free herself and subversively goes on an adventure to save Hyrule and, by extension, Link, in a funny way, this whole game feels like one long post-game content scenario to Link's journey. So let's talk about what you actually do in this long post-game content scenario. Echoes of Wisdom borrows a lot of DNA from Breath and Tears. It's clear Nintendo wanted this to be a return to the series' simplistic roots, but with the added mechanics of their two landmark titles. Breath and Tears, especially the latter, were all about inventiveness via creating and combining tools and objects to help you traverse their sprawling worlds in a myriad of ways. As Zelda, you'll interact with every single thing in this game, from basic objects like tables and beds to fearsome enemies you've defeated like the classic goblins and bats, to then summon them to assist you during combat, level traversal, and puzzle solving. And very similar to my outlook on the previous two games, I really appreciated this mechanic and its versatility in the experience. Much like in Breath and Tears, the creative leeway this stuff gives you is incredible, and coming up with some of the wackiest, most out-of-the-box solutions to building bridges, towers, and mechanisms to progress through this world was awesome. I loved it. This should go without saying, but this core mechanic of inventiveness, in addition to other embellishments to Nintendo's most ambitious titles, such as cooking, which in this game is smoothie making, and modern quality of life elements, which are designed the exact same way as in Breath and Tears, clearly make this the most ambitious of Nintendo's 2D side of the franchise. But what I appreciate here is that despite this being the biggest 2D Zelda game, it still retains the simplicity of the classics in this vein. The world isn't massive, with clearly segregated areas and biomes, all of which look beautiful in this game's endearing clay-like visual style, and the progression is nostalgic. Each major quest in this game has Zelda progressing through old-school temples and dungeons within these rifts, each harboring features that you'll fondly remember from the old games, like rooms with brain-picking puzzles, a special key that leads you to a fun final boss who will drop a heart container, and more. And even though you don't play as Link and must largely rely on summoning monsters during combat, the game still doesn't hold back with its nostalgia factor, since Zelda has the ability to periodically transform into Link's spirit for a short duration. In this, she can use his classic abilities, with a little touch that I really personally loved. That being the shift in music to Link's iconic theme that ends up being infused with a chiptune-like style that harkens back to the older games. And the music as a whole is something worth praising here. While some Zelda games are better done than others, one thing that's consistently spellbinding throughout is the soundtrack. Once again, Nintendo knocked it out of the park here. You get to visit a whole bunch of familiar and beloved locations in this new canon, each of which, while having a new yet lovely theme, still retain a few recognizable notes and chords from the other games. Like the Hyrule Ranch, for example, which, despite being completely original, has Epona the Horse's 3 iconic notes from the one and only goated Zelda game, Ocarina of Time. And Zelda's theme, and by extension the main theme of Echoes of Wisdom, is awesome itself, as it too not only sounds great, but stems from her simple lullaby in Ocarina as well. All in all, Echoes of Wisdom is a wonderfully charming and playful game that I had a lot of fun with on stream. It's not without some teensy tiny faults, such as a wildly inconsistent frame rate, and the UI being a little clunky to navigate, which was also a pain point I had for Tears of the Kingdom, a game with a near identical menu layout, and I will say that this game may not be for everyone. Like, if you're a relatively new Zelda fan going into this game after your introduction to the series with Breath and/or Tears, don't expect this to be a massive 100+ hour adventure that might redefine the way you fundamentally view a genre. This is one that's worth playing if you love the world of Zelda and its staple excellent level design with satisfying puzzle solving, regardless of whether or not it's a sprawling 3D open world adventure that pushes the boundaries of what's possible with gameplay. So with that said, folks, my final verdict for Echoes of Wisdom is that I recommend it with reservations. It is a lovingly made, decently long game with a good amount of side activities and fun minigames, but isn't one that will consume you for the next year if it's the only one that you play. At the end of the day, it's clear Nintendo's direction with this was to pay homage to the older games that served as the foundation for this magnificent series, and to remind us that they haven't forgotten about it. And I can really appreciate that. So, I hope you have fun with this game if you do decide to pick it up, and please do if you can or would like to. Let's show the developers that there's still a lot of love and interest for the old-fashioned 2D aesthetic. If you want to see my expression of that in the form of my stream through of the game, then as always, you can catch all the VODs of that on my second channel, that's Irritable Archives, linked in the description below. And if you want to say hi while I'm playing live, then head on over to twitch.tv/irritableindian, also linked below. Thank you for catching my review video today, folks, and I appreciate you all understanding the small change in direction this channel will be taking that I talked about in the beginning of this video. Until the next one, keep on keeping on.